Salutations. A couple of days ago, I did an interview with Tony Rodriguez. He contacted me and asked me to be on the show, so I was honored and I was on there. I've had some very positive interactions with Tony. I met him at a conference about a little over a year ago in Cocoa Beach, Florida. We both were presenters there. Rode in together, had dinner together, and then flew back together, or at least in the airport. So we got to talk quite a bit, and all my interactions with him have been really good. And something I've noticed that he is not quote-unquote SSP, secret space program, as much as he says he went through a type of enslavement program. And he's quite vivid about it, and he's got physical evidence to try to back it up as terms of evidence he's trying to coordinate, and he's written a book I'm going to look at. So I just thought it was very interesting. But, you know, something that came up during the conversation are the first three sketches I'll show on this video. I'll show the picture of us, we're at the airport, and then also three sketches that he sent me at the end of this interview, and he said that I could use them. Actually, I could show them. So they're of these different insectoids. And this is kind of a part 2 of insectoids to a video I had done, oh gosh, probably 6 months ago, that's still on Patreon only. I'll probably release it, maybe release this one the following day. So this is kind of a part 2, so I don't want to go over everything I went over in that video, but kind of add a couple of things. So these 3 pictures he sent that you saw are supposed to be of these hostile mantids, praying mantis type of intelligences. And the one with the smaller ones, I think it's the second picture, he said were the mantis that he encountered on Mars, and that they're very hostile, and they're about 2 feet tall, I think he said, a little bit wider than that, but they're very sentient and very hostile. And then there's another one picture he gave me, and I think that might be what Linda Moulton Howe and Earth Files calls a trantiloid, that type of hostile insectoid that you can't seem to find a picture of and no one knows what they actually look like. Just they're a very hostile insectoid species towards humanity and most all life forms. So I think that's the other thing that he had showed, actually, was that picture that he gave me. I just find it very fascinating, you know, and taking that and showing him much appreciation is that's the reason why I came forward, is I wanted to unite and discuss experiences with other experiencers of all different types, and he's one of those, okay? And I'm sorry something really negative happened to him, but I had positive encounters, but he wanted to kind of just see the similarities, and I really appreciate that, you know, coming from 2 different avenues and trying to learn something. That's really what this is all about, all right? So I kind of take some of this and I compare it with my personal encounters with an insectoid, the first one which would be Xandar, that I've showed you before, okay? And there's videos about this back on my channel. Go look at my personal encounters, so I won't go over that too much, but he's an insectoid that I met as a child. I'm going to put some of these pictures up too, since they're these are ones I had done with me for Kusara. I've interacted with, when I was a kid, Xandar several times. There was this first event here, there was another one, this is him, but there's a different uniform he had on that I'll put a picture up on. And like I say, he was an insectoid, he looked more like a grasshopper, okay, with about the proportions I was when I was younger, so he wasn't the size of a mantid or something like that. He was also a part of this on this craft. So several times I've seen interactions with Xandar. There's the acid rain experience right here, which may even be my background here I'll choose for. And then in the back of that room, there was another room with the engine. He's there. He was also when they sent me back to that one craft. So several times I interact with him, and he is not your typical mantid, and I have more of a positive experience with this being, okay? And taking that and kind of cross-referencing that also with what I've said before that I missed in the other video is fireflies. Fireflies, the firefly connection, okay? That's something that I believe I missed in the previous video, and I'll probably show these back to back, like I said. And that would be my personal experiences, but for a lot of times I've heard such a connection between owls and also deer concerning the contact phenomenon and scenario. A lot of times people will see owls are connected and there's deers connected. You know, there's a whole book about that gentleman wrote about owls, and I think grays especially connected to the extraterrestrial and abduction contact phenomenon. For me, what seemed to be associated were these fireflies, large amounts of them, lighting up trees and flying in the air. And so I've said before that there's no doubt in my mind how they're connected to my experiences, especially the second one of missing time, my adult onset experiences. I've talked about that, I believe, in another video, so I won't go over it. But anyway, there's no doubt that the fireflies have an awareness, are aware of the light ships. Period. That's the way it goes. I've experienced that. So that ties into something else that is a video I've done that's on my channel under the Ascetti Ranch list with John Vavinko, the remote viewer. Something he had said about fireflies that caught my attention. So he talked about that in that video. But he had a target of some, his team had a target of some fireflies that were in the Amazon that were very peculiar. And for certain reasons they wanted to view them. And when they viewed them, it turns out that these fireflies were either from another dimension planet, and that they were here looking at some fireflies that were destroyed in this part of the Amazon, or wherever this forest was. There were these fireflies that were eradicated there and destroyed, and they said that they were like their distant cousins or something, and they were connected somehow, and they came here to see why this species was eradicated. So once again, this takes our perception of the contact scenario and expands it, all right? And in terms of what I've experienced in insectoid experience, contact experiences, and what I've gotten from it and things, is a lot of times looking at perhaps that when our vibration seriously increases, that I think I said this in the other video, when our vibration seriously increases, that we become almost insectoid-like. The sound, and that takes us back to that Star Trek episode where Kirk, the original, where Kirk got sped up by that lady, and everybody else was moving real slow. And when he left a note for data tape for Spock, saying they need to destroy this device that these aliens had planted on board the Enterprise. And when Spock tries to watch it, it just sounds like a bug on there. And when he slows it down, like, I don't know, 500 times or something, you can see Kirk on there talking. So is that what happens when our vibration gets so fast? Does it become insectoid-like? It's just food for thought, okay? But connecting that with the fireflies and all that goes together. Now, going back to something else about Tony Rodriguez that I tried to kind of compare, is he had the negative encounters with these mantis, these praying mantis beings, different types of them, and how much of that is in coordinating with in correlation with some of the other experiencers with the praying mantis that I've heard. The contactees have talked about that. Now, I went over that in several other videos, and sometimes they've been said that they have these light coming out of their mouth or light around their heads, and comparing that to some of them saying that they seed solar systems, and is that what the Uranta book calls a life carrier. That's other videos I've done. You can look all those up on this channel, all right? Anyway, so taking that just into the insectoid, I think it's important to just kind of broaden our our understanding of that from both the negative encounters with them and the positive, all right? So there's a lot of things going on there. And if you want to go negative, I was making some jokes, I think, about insects can be very hostile on this planet. Thus the movie with Jeff Goldblum, The Fly. You remember Brundle dash Fly? Brundle couldn't ingest solid food, so he had to regurgitate. You remember those scenes. Anyway, getting away from that. Seriously, the insectoid thing, I think it's relevant to understand the different types from the tranoloids all the way to what I've experienced, which is a grasshopper type of being, to some of those that might be non-physical, to what Tony's experienced, which are these different type of mantids. And that goes across the board, apparently. Something else about some of those mantids, some of the other contactees have had negative experiences, said that they were in a place with these mantids that they call the place of translation. These tube technology with all lights around there pulling in souls and trying to put them in these clone bodies, or trying to give themselves bodies they can project themselves into. So that's just something else that came up. Maybe Tony knows more and can say something about that. So anyway, maybe, food for thought if nothing else, all right? And I'm doing this because a lot of people had commented that I don't talk about the extraterrestrial stuff enough now. So I'm kind of putting that out there so you have some food for thought if nothing else, all right? Because I've been kind of encompassed a little bit, and with the Earthbound Spirit thing, been doing a lot of work there. So anyway, this is for that. Please press the subscribe. Please press the like button. Yeah, I've got to press it again. I'm still in that algorithm. Alright, I want to thank the people on Patreon. That's the only reason these videos are getting made, and they're not easy to get made anymore. So thank you very much. God bless all.